Now we continue this women's MMA theme. They are the talk of the town on Friday. Legacy, Lake Charles, Louisiana. BJJ star, arguably the greatest BJJ star living right now as far as women's BJJ is concerned, is Mackenzie Dern, and she made her long-awaited, much-anticipated mixed martial arts debut on Friday, and it was successful. Perhaps didn't go as she planned, but got a lot of cage time in there and looked very good, very dominant in doing so. This is big news in the world of MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of people have been waiting for this for a long time, and she's joining us, I believe, via the magic of Skype phone. She's on the phone. Mackenzie Dern joining us right now.
Hi.
Mackenzie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I understand that you are in Barcelona, as they say over there, right?
Yes, Barcelona.
It's actually Barcelona. You have to say Barcelona.
Oh, yeah, with like a list, right?
Yes.
Barcelona.
I appreciate you coming on very much. Congratulations on the win. And I know this is somewhat of a vacation for you, so thank you for taking out some time for us. So now you finally got that MMA debut under your belt, so to speak, under your black belt. Did it go as you thought it would? Did you think that you would need 15 minutes to defeat her?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm so happy to be able to finally do the fight. I know for sure it was something that everyone was waiting for. Like, everyone was asking me almost like 3 years, hey, when are you going to do MMA? When are you going to do MMA? And then when I did decide to do MMA, it was, okay, when is your fight? When is your fight? And now it's like official, you know. I have an MMA fight underneath my belt, so my Jiu-Jitsu belt. So I'm really excited about that. I'm always confident in my Jiu-Jitsu, and I especially since like it was her pro debut, Kenya Rosa's pro debut, and was my first fight. So like I was definitely confident in my Jiu-Jitsu and my competition experience that hopefully I was going to be able to get a submission, you know. But man, she was so flexible and very tough, you know. So. I wasn't upset about it. I felt really good in the whole fight. It was good to see the cardio difference between MMA, you know, to be able to go all 3 rounds and like attacking all 3 rounds and not feel tired and see that, you know, everything's going good, preparation is going good. It was just good. And also, too, you know, Jiu-Jitsu, we don't really hurt people, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a choke armbar. So it was kind of good for me to be able to see, like, kind of get, okay, I can throw elbows, I can throw this, you know, like you kind of have to have that side to you, you know, so it was good for me to be able to feel that and learn that. I liked it.
So here's a big question. Did you enjoy the process? Do you want to keep doing this?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can't wait for the next one. I'm already talking to my manager, like, when are we going to get the next fight? I think that there's some things, like, I can train, but just like my Jiu-Jitsu, you know, like, I have 20 years experience with Jiu-Jitsu, you know, something that just time you can build that, you know. So I'm really into like trying to get the experience as much as possible. So I'm already ready to like start the next, and I don't want to take too much time off. The weight cut was so hard for me, so I prefer to not give myself too much time to gain too much weight. You know, I prefer to stay lower on weight and not suffer so much.
What's going through your mind, considering how good you are in Jiu-Jitsu, when you're fighting someone who doesn't have, you know, the same kind of skill on the mat as you do, and you're locking in these arm bars, everything possible on the ground. It was a lot of fun to watch you work on the mat, and yet she's not tapping, and she's showing unbelievable flexibility. Is that messing with you? Like, are you talking to yourself, well, what do I have to do to actually finish this girl?
No, I mean, after the first armbar, I pretty much figured that, like, she was flexible. And, I mean, I don't know if she is, like, double jointed or anything, but, I mean, it's, like, common. So we see, like, in Jiu-Jitsu, too, sometimes. Like, I've trained with girls who are, like, really flexible, you know. And then my mind was just kind of like, okay, what do I need to do to not get tired if I don't finish her, you know? So I was just trying to control, and I didn't want to spend too much energy, like, trying to submit something if, you know, like, I think even if I had, like, a choke, I think that she wouldn't tap, you know. I think she'd prefer to go to sleep, you know. She just had, like, a very, like, I could feel, like, fighting her, she had, like, really good spirit, you know, like warrior spirit, you know, not give up. So I was like, man, I think that with her, it's better I just gain some experience here. You know, I some positions, like, I almost went to a knee bar and toe hold, and I was like, let me work a little bit, you know, like, this is my first fight, so let me work a little bit my punching and try to get used to that, you know. So I didn't get frustrated or anything. Like, I think would be maybe more frustrating if I felt her, like, defending a lot of the positions, you know, but a lot of times I could feel like I was getting in the positions of submissions, but she was just tough and hanging on and stuff like that. So I didn't get frustrated, and I thought it was a good experience. It was good for me to be calm during the fight, so I really enjoyed it.
You mentioned that people have been asking you for several years, when are you going to transition to MMA, or if you're going to transition to MMA. Do you recall the moment when you decided, all right, enough of this, I'm going to go for it, I'm not going to be afraid, I'm going to make this transition, put myself in uncomfortable territory? Do you recall when you made that decision and why?
Yeah, I remember it was December, and I had told myself, okay, I'm going to do it, but my first goal is to win the World Championships as black belt. And so I did that, and then I said, okay, now I'm going to do it, but then I still wanted to win the Worlds again. So then I won the Worlds this year again, but December of 2015, so last December, was when I told my coach, John Crouch, I said hey coach, okay, I'm ready to do this. I won my world title that I wanted to win. I kind of accomplished, I had a great year in jiu-jitsu, so I accomplished a lot of things that I want to accomplish. So I need new challenges, I'm ready to do this. So we decided to make my first fight after the World Championships, just because I felt like my jiu-jitsu would be the best technique. I have a huge jiu-jitsu camp for the world, so I figured my jiu-jitsu technique would be at the best timing, the best very tight and sharp after my World Championships. So we tried to look for a fight to be really close to then. So that's why I was lucky to get my fight now for July 22nd. And I remember that I made one post with Lauren Murphy and Jocelyn Jones, who are both in the UFC, and it just blew up. I think we have lots of famous girls in jiu-jitsu: Kira Gracie, Michelle Nicolini, Gabby Garcia, who transitioned to MMA, but no one really was sure if they will, if they won't, so I think it was really exciting. People enjoyed the fact that it's official now, I'm going to take this serious and hopefully get a UFC title one day.
Yeah, you mentioned John Crouch, head coach at the Lab in Arizona, one of the very best coaches in the world. You live in Arizona, so it makes a lot of sense to team up with that team. But your father, the great Megaton Diaz, has been your coach since you were just a little niña, since you were 3 years old or so. Is it true, though, that you said you didn't want him in your corner because he would get too nervous and maybe put that nervousness on you? Is that true?
Yeah, I think even just for him too. Of course, one day, I would love to have him there in my corner, but or to watch me fight and everything. But I feel like you kind of need in your corner. It's almost that people that love you but don't love you so much that they get so nervous when you're fighting, that they freeze, or maybe they, I don't want him to feel get emotional if I'm losing, or getting, I'm his little girl, so I didn't know what to expect from the fight. I don't know if I was going to get knocked out or to get bloody and cut on my face, and I don't think it's too good, for my dad to see that yet, So because the fight was on Access TV, I thought it would be better for him to watch it from home, him, my mom, my whole family, Maybe one day after he get used to it. I even talked to him. I called him after the fight.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. He gave me his opinions, what he thought.
What did he say?
He thought I did really good. He loved all my jiu-jitsu. He was so proud of me. But he said that I asked him so did you get nervous? You trust in my decision to be in MMA and everything? He said, yeah, but he liked that he saw it online, on TV. He said he felt a little bit better, watching me on TV and not live, getting me punched and stuff like that, seeing me punched.
I don't know if calling it a rivalry is the right kind of word, but you've had this sort of history with Gabby Garcia, and I have to say, watching you compete against her in jiu-jitsu is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, just given the size difference. And when you defeated her, it's an inspiring thing to watch, and I have no idea how you do it. Is it true that you asked your team afterwards if your debut was better than hers?
Yeah, we do have a big rivalry, me and her. We don't get along definitely anymore.
Enough. Why? What happened?
I don't know. We used to be pretty good. Of course, she's beating me tons of times. I was the one who won the last fight between us, but in comparison, she's beat me. I didn't win, just at the first time. This has been like a long time, like a year of her beating me and me learning from each experience and getting better and trying to learn from the mistakes. And I don't know, the last time that we fought, we just kind of had I think she didn't take it well, and I understand, like she was undefeated, so sometimes it's hard from other people to putting, like talking about it. It can be a lot, so we just kind of had a falling out, and we definitely didn't end on good terms with that, but even for her MMA debut, of course I was like cheering for her because she is like a representation of Jiu-Jitsu, she represents Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm always cheering for Jiu-Jitsu, I'm always cheering for the Jiu-Jitsu guy, of course. But, I think just, yeah, that was one big thing, between my team, I was kind of like, oh, I hope, I wish I could have seen her do a little bit more Jiu-Jitsu on her first debut,
Yeah.
But, I wasn't able to submit my first fight too, So the first thing I asked my coaches was like, oh, how was it compared to hers, So I was definitely one of the first things I asked.
Will you continue doing jiu-jitsu now that you've embarked on this MMA career?
Yeah, for sure. I'll still do like some jiu-jitsu tournaments. Anytime that I don't have a fight and I have like the right conditions, I'm never stopping to train jiu-jitsu, I'll keep training jiu-jitsu forever to help my MMA. I can't go 100% just doing boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai and everything and let my jiu-jitsu get sloppy, So I'll always be training my jiu-jitsu, and as long as my conditioning is there and I don't have a fight, within the next 3 weeks, man, if I can, I'll compete jiu-jitsu for sure. That's like I'm so competitive, Like right now, I'm number one in the world in jiu-jitsu, and I don't want to leave number one too soon,
Yeah.
1 year at being number one is too soon. Let's try to do 2, 3 years, 4 years.
You've been competing for around 20 years or so. You're 23 now. Would you say competing against Gabby Garcia is the toughest thing you've ever done athletically?
Yeah, it's for sure the most challenging, just because there's no one in the academy that's even close to her size.
Yeah.
So there's no way to prepare yourself to fight her, and the only way you prepare yourself to fight her, at least for me, is to fight the absolute division. And to fight the absolute division, I need to fight a whole bunch of other girls too, who are also bigger than me, So sometimes I would lose before I made it to the finals with her, or maybe she'd be in the semifinals, but maybe, I would lose before I get to her. So it was just so hard to be able to fight her, to reach her. And then when I did fight her, that was my only training, was to see how I did in the fight, So then I had to see, okay, what worked, what didn't work. It was so challenging for sure. But I think the biggest thing is everyone always asks me oh man, she has guy strength, but she's not crazy strong, She's still she has woman strength. Nothing compares to my dad holding my hand on. My dad is so much stronger than her. Nothing that I go through in the training is she's not worse than anything that I go through during the training, but she's heavy for sure. She's so heavy and so big, so I feel like I'm doing leg press for 20 minutes straight, man.
You told my colleague Guilherme Cruz before this fight that 2017 you envisioned yourself in the UFC making a run at the title. After your debut, do you still feel like that's attainable, like that's the goal?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Yeah.
We're halfway done 2016.
Yeah, I'm a fast worker, I learn fast. I think that as long as I keep evolving, that's the plan. That's what I want to do. I'm not going to give up on what I have planned. So I think I'm doing good. It's just to get used to it and to keep being confident and trust. There's so much stuff that my coaches and everything, they taught me, and in the training, I'm even doing that good. But I think for my first fight, to be able to have that come out, it went straight right away to jiu-jitsu, your instincts came out first, So I'm excited to start testing more my stand-up and stuff, but of course I'm never gonna take away my jiu-jitsu. I'll always go to jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm still confident with that goal, I think that maybe by the end of 2017 I can try for a title. We'll see. Who knows?
Wow.
I never know, but that's the goal.
Are you comfortable with getting punched in the face? Because that takes some time to get used to, right?
Yeah, that takes time to get used to it, you know. It actually doesn't hurt as much as I thought it would hurt. You know, it's more like the anticipation, you know. You don't want to like close your eyes when you see a punch coming and stuff. But, I mean, for this first fight, I mean, I even got like punched me being like I was mounting Kenya, and she was kind of throwing punches at me from the mount, you know, but there's just so much adrenaline that, man, I didn't feel anything, you know. I think after I felt like a little bit sore on my head and my jaws, things that I'm not used to with jiu-jitsu, you know, but it's okay. I'm getting used to it. Nothing compared to what Lauren Murphy does with me or Jocelyn. They punch so hard.
You had the great privilege of having a former champion in Benson Henderson in your corner. Did he tell you anything before the fight about the nerves, you know, the debut, just what to expect, how to get comfortable in the cage? This was all very new to you. Did he share some wisdom with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really good friends with Ben, and I'm so lucky because, you know, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you know, he competes in jiu-jitsu too. So
yeah,
he you know, he can relate so much to me, and he just kept telling me like how it's so like jiu-jitsu, you know, like how this is like my moment, and that, you know, I'm born to do this, you know, that I'm used to doing this. Nothing is different than what I do in jiu-jitsu, you know. And it was crazy because it really is. I felt like I was walking out to a jiu-jitsu match. I didn't feel like anything different, you know. I didn't really hear any of the crowds, you know. I didn't hear anything. I felt like I was going to compete. I was so relaxed. And I think that's why I liked it so much, because it was like a very similar feeling to competing in jiu-jitsu, but in jiu-jitsu, I was getting kind of like used to the feeling, the adrenaline, you know. It wasn't that much adrenaline rush, you know. So I still had adrenaline, was still like a challenge to like have to think about kicks and punches, but it still gave me that happiness and joy to be that competition feeling that I like. So he helped me so much, and you know, he always puts like motivation speeches on during training, you know. So he put that on for me in the back before my fight. I asked him to, and he was putting it on for me and helping me get in the zone. So I'm so happy that he was there.
I have to ask, there's been some talk about your accent, that it's changed. Yes. What is going on with the accent? Now it kind of sounds pretty standard to me, but it gets a little more Brazilian, I would say, then a little more American. What's happening? Is it just based on who you're hanging out with? What's going on?
You know, I think that it all depends. Like, for example, when I get really tired, like thinking, okay, so if I fight, I have one interview that I see a lot was right after I fought Gabby Garcia, you know, and right after that fight, I just got off the mat, and literally, like, the person doing the interview was Brazilian. I speak 2 languages, so I'm not 100% American. I was born in America, but my dad is Brazilian. My ex-fiance is Brazilian. You know, I dated him for 5 years. I lived in Brazil. So, I mean, I think people get confused and they think I'm just like this American girl, like born and raised, you know, just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't speak any other language, you know. And so then I got out of the fight, and my mind is thinking in Portuguese, and the guy's asking me the questions in Portuguese, and he asked me to respond in English, you know. So, honestly, I think just kind of depends how my mind is thinking. I don't even hear the accent, you know, especially when I see like interviews where my dad's talking. You know, my dad has such a strong accent, you know, so I don't even hear it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's more how I'm thinking, or how who I'm talking to. Maybe if I'm speaking Portuguese and then someone just switches on me, you know, you're still thinking in Portuguese, in English. So I think that's what's going on, you know, but I don't know. I noticed that people have been talking about that lately, so I feel like kind of like honored that they notice so much about how I talk.
Oh yeah, they notice a lot about you. They are very perceptive when it comes to you. Final thing: when in a perfect world would you like to fight again? If you had your way, what month, you know, what time frame would you like to get your second MMA fight?
I already asked Danny if he could try to find a fight for me in October, so that's what I'm looking for. The
great Danny Rubenstein, your manager.
Yes.
October, so a little less than 3 months away.
Yeah. I'm in Barcelona right now.
Yeah.
And I come back home on Sunday, I think. And then the plan is to go fight in Japan for a jiu-jitsu tournament at the beginning of September.
Okay.
And then I'll be back to fight hopefully the end of October.
All right. And you're there for a seminar in Barcelona as well?
No. Right now it's just to take my mind off training a little bit.
Okay. Well, enjoy that. Again, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us during your vacation, because I'm sure you're going to go out on Las Ramblas now.
Yes.
Right? I was there once in my younger days. Playa Barceloneta. I mean, I know that whole scene. It's unbelievable. But enjoy, Mackenzie, and really congratulations. It was a lot of fun to watch. I know it was a big deal getting your first MMA victory. Soon it will be UFC.
I would hope so.
Yes. So congratulations on that. Thank you very much for the time, and I look forward to watching your MMA career from here on out.
Thank you so much, Ariel. Nice talking to you.
It is a pleasure. There she is, Mackenzie Dern, the best female BJJ practitioner living on this earth right now. How about that? And some would argue maybe the best, period. Successfully making her MMA debut this Friday. Congratulations to her.